Hello, I'm John Waters, and I'm supposed to announce there is no smoking in this theater, which I think is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard of in my life. How can anyone sit through a length of a film, and especially a European film, and not have a cigarette? But don't you wish you had one right now? And I'm telling you that smoke anyway. It gives ushers jobs, and if people didn't smoke, there would be no employment for the youth of today. So once again, no smoking in this theater.
The Jeff Meacham Network's multiverse of media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Talk Wrestling here on the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media, NoDQ.com as well, of course, the mothership, if you will, the original home of Talk Wrestling. It is Thursday, October, the hell's today's date? The 19th, October 19th, 2023. Winding down that month, heading for Halloween, just a little over a week away. My goodness, it's been a crazy year already. Crazy month already, and it's getting crazier as we go along here. So just wanted to make sure I fulfill my commitments to Aaron Rift and to everybody and get the show on the air today. And let's talk about what you guys want to talk about. I see there's questions in the chat room, of course. What do we want to talk about today? Good to see Marshall. Good to see Lee. Good to see Adam. James, hello. Good to see you as well. Daniel commenting on last night's Luck of the Draw was good, and will it make open mic night game night debut? That's the question. We'll talk about Luck of the Draw later on. I want to make sure we get to the wrestling talk because it is Talk Wrestling. JJ, good to see you. And yes, the topic of, my goodness, last night for sure, but as we move into 2024 and beyond, apparently is going to be the official, and we say official in wrestling with a grain of salt, right? Of the icon, the retirement of the man called Sting. And I went ahead and put this together because we are going to be covering Revolution whenever it does air for AEW coming up usually in the springtime in March, but I went ahead and put spring because we never know with AEW and Tony Khan making their announcements, but we will be covering AEW Revolution coming up next year with the final act, if you will, of Showtime for the last time of the icon Sting. Mixed feelings. I remember, I realize this is not going to tilt unless I actually do it like this. There we go. Hi. I remember talking to Steve Borden in, I want to say it was May, maybe even late April of 2001. Not too long after the buyout that WWE or WWF at the time completed of WCW from AOL Time Warner, and asking him what his future was then. That was 22 years ago, folks. And Sting had said then that he wasn't sure that, Vince McMahon would know what to do with Sting. So his future was uncertain. Of course, then a year, a little bit more, he was with TNA, and then he finally made the WWE in 2014. And then he's been with AEW for a few years now, I say. And he apparently made it official last night on Dynamite that he is going to have his final match at Revolution coming up in 2024. The chat room is definitely hitting the money mark here as far as 2024 is going to be an amazing year. Ric Flair is possible, but as bad as both of them felt their match in 2001 came off, I don't see them having a match in 2024 come off any better, right? Matthew makes a great point. Sting and Danielson both retiring next year. And then if you believe the world champion's claims, MJF's bidding more 2024. Talking about maybe Sting and Darby Allin being Sting's last match. And yeah, the fact that he is still in the ring now, doing what he's doing, is phenomenal. AJ Styles, of course, is the phenomenal one, and how about Undertaker being the phenom over the years, plus Snuka. But yeah, the fact that he's able to do what he does at the age he is astonishing. He is an icon. There's no doubt about it. I agree that it has to be Darby. I think it just seems right that Darby would be the last opponent for him, passing that torch on to him. I only say Hogan's not possible, Marshall, because Hogan's back is just a hot mess. It was a mess at Bound for Glory 12 years ago. It's far worse now. Hogan's back is just completely surgeried out of having the Hulkster be in the ring. I'd like to see Hogan go one more time. I know people have their feelings about Hulk that I don't. I love Hulk. I always will. He's the reason I'm sitting here, or at least it's the initial reason. Sting versus Adam Copeland would be another great option, Jay. I would love to see that. Again, and no matter how you slice it, Sting is an icon. He's a legend. He is one of the biggest stars of all time to never have really, in his prime at least, competed under the WWE banner. I agree. I wish we could have got The Undertaker. I really do. It wasn't meant to be. And Undertaker, yes, we saw him on NXT last week, of course, but again, the mobility is the issue. Undertaker's got a spring in his step, but not enough for a full match, at least from my observations and from what you hear. Same with there's so many possibilities. And does AEW bring in hire in a one-off? Do they give that nod to Darby? Do what will you got to wonder what the gift is going to be that Tony Khan is going to present to Sting coming up on this coming Wednesday, next week's Dynamite. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And yes, Sting has endured the test of time. He was with Mid-South with Watts back in the 80s. I think he went through Continental before that, if I remember right. Started here in California, of course. I don't think he was a native Californian. I was at least not born here, but he did get discovered, for lack of a better term, out here. Rick Bassman, of course, he and Jim Hellwig, Warrior, went through, again, Continental, I believe he was there briefly. Memphis, I believe he went through there. Of course, Jim Crockett and WCW, and then TNA and WWE, and now AEW. Basically every major promotion that there has been since the mid 80s. AWA was already, on its decline by the time he really got cooking, and ECW was never going to be an option for Sting. I don't think Sting, not to say that ECW, didn't have the passionate audience, because they certainly did, but Sting always felt like a stadium stage star, if you will, not the ECW crowd, I guess. Again, not trying to disparage ECW. I love ECW. But Sting was always a WCW guy for me. Seeing him in WWE was strange for the brief time. Seeing him in AEW now is strange for me. It's always been, Sting's long. Yeah, he's not. He's still going. But we have until spring, until we say our final goodbyes, until we hit the end of Showtime, the final curtain, whatever you want to call it. And I mentioned Bound for Glory earlier, talking about Sting and Hogan. I'm very much looking forward to this weekend and Bound for Glory, presented by Impact Wrestling. I know NoDQ.com doesn't cover Impact Wrestling as far as the recaps of the weekly shows or the pay-per-views or whatever, but I am so excited to have our Impact Wrestling commentary team on the Multiverse of Media watch-alongs, Noah Foster and our buddy Dattila, on the call. And we will hear from Noah as well as JJ Williams tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific, with Simply Predicting for Bound for Glory. And yes, that is true. Cicero Stadium in Chicago is sold out for Bound for Glory on Saturday. So it's pretty cool that Bound for Glory has a sellout. Very excited for the company's future. And the question on everybody's mind about that is, will we see a straight edge superstar who happens to live in the second city. On Saturday, that's the big talk about Saturday's show. But Saturday is such a great card. And we'll talk. You guys, they'll talk all about it tomorrow. I may or may not be there. I do have to report to work tomorrow, at least in the morning. So we'll see what time I am able to, or what time I get to clock out, and what time I get to make it back here to the homestead. I may be part of that presentation on Friday, tomorrow, and maybe Saturdays as well. But also, after we do our Bound for Glory coverage, I invite everybody to stay tuned on Saturday, because we're bringing back our game night for October, and it's going to be our version of Wheel of Fortune, just no giant wheel or obnoxious egotistical host and Pat Sajak. We've got Noah Foster hosting this thing, baby. The wonderful, the simply spectacular Noah Foster, with Haunted Hangman. And of course, we will have our usual Saturday shenanigans, which got lost in the sauce here, of course, because God forbid I be able to do anything right the first bloody time. We'll have a Black Night, of course, after Haunted Hangman. That'll be coming up on this Saturday. So big day coming up ahead of us. On Saturday for the Multiverse of Media. Yeah, that would be definitely, you want to ask Noah, possibly Super Chat open mic night on Saturday, because I have no idea who that is. And also I didn't get to see NXT, to be fair. Again, I don't know if that's the case about the title belt, so we'll see how that all plays out. I do have to keep it short today, unfortunately. I have obligations in the house that I have to get back to, but I do want to get all the ridiculous, obnoxious, shameless shills in. So we talked about Bound for Glory on Saturday. We talked about some predicting tomorrow. Sunday, of course, on NoDQ.com. If you're watching NoDQ.com, I appreciate that very much. You can check out the NoDQ review back in its regular time slot, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific on Sunday, Monday morning, and every Monday through Thursday on the Costume Studios. The Renegade J.J. Williams presents his recaps for the week for the love of wrestling. Monday morning, of course, he plays what we call catch up, I guess, for lack of a better term. Gives his recaps of Rampage, AEW Rampage, SmackDown, and Collision. On Tuesday mornings, he recaps Raw. On Wednesday mornings, he recaps NXT, and then Thursday, he recaps the previous night's Dynamite. So again, that's Monday through Wednesday, every single week on the Cassian Studios exclusively, by the way, the Cassian Studios channel. That's Monday through Thursday. Of course, Aaron's usual recaps of Monday Night Raw, AEW Dynamite, and Friday Night SmackDown each and every week on NoDQ.com. This coming Tuesday, we will have a special happy hour episode of Stat Boy Sports Bar featuring Dory Lou on the Casa, as well as Jeff Meacham Network for 2 reasons. One, I won't be there to produce, so we are doing happy hour early because I will be indisposed. I will also be we will also be covering both nights of Halloween Havoc presented by NXT, and that's this Tuesday the 24th and Halloween night, of course. Both coverages starting at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. 1 second, I don't know if you guys can hear me as I'm scrolling through this, so if you can't, I'll say it again. So I apologize in advance if you can't hear me. I'm trying to talk over the noise in the house, so I do apologize. 1 second, I'm trying to find it. I don't know where it went. Gosh darn it. You gotta love the chaos. Okay, guys. Let's see. I'm gonna try like this. There again, the NWA TV deal. It's pretty much not any better than YouTube, if we're being honest. So it's a couple of local areas that the CW happens to cover. So until they get like a national TV deal or a global thing outside of YouTube, it's not really big. Like, wow, it is what it is. So I don't I don't see a need to gush over it, right? So that's why I didn't cover it. But since you guys are going to push, I'll go ahead and talk about it. All right. Anyway, I invite everybody, and I mean everybody, to check this out from yesterday. Luck of the Draw. So much fun over on the Greg Cherry brand and the Jeff Meacham Network YouTube. There's a special episode of the Greg Cherry Show that aired yesterday. Greg's amazing concept that he's put together some 15 years ago. Check that out in the archives on both channels. And of course, this coming Wednesday will be our special Halloween episode of the Greg Cherry Show. And then, of course, we'll be right back here Thursday with another episode of Talk Wrestling. So be on the lookout for that. do need to go. Unfortunately, I'm being called away. Happy birthday in advance, James. Looking forward to seeing how you celebrate your birthday. And yes, we will talk about the WT video coming up this Saturday on Open Mic Night. Thank you all very much for watching. It is much appreciated, guys. And we will see you next week and throughout the weekend here on the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, and ODQ.com. Good night.